And we're going to get into some examples of it in a minute. But the first thing you should consider has nothing to do with social media. It's marketing 101. It's something that we should all be doing at any point when we sit down to do a program is know thyself. Understand your brand. What do you want your brand to accomplish? What do you want it to do? If you don't understand that, you're just doing stuff on social media. You need to have some strategy behind everything that you're doing, whether it's social media or traditional marketing, public relations. That is such a critical key. 2, plan accordingly. Social media is not something that you flip a switch and all of a sudden you have 1,000 followers on Twitter and 5,000 fans on Facebook, and people are going to your blog and lighting you up every day. It's a process. Jeff said water. It's a great analogy because it is changing all the time. It's not achieved in day one. So have a plan, whether it's internally with your internal stakeholders or an agency that you're working with. 3 is time management. Maybe it's the most important. You could have content. You can develop content. We learned the importance of that with Paul's presentation. But if you don't leave yourself the time to actually execute it, it's just sitting there. We don't write press releases and then not send them to trade publications or media outlets. So the same thing with social media. We have to be able to plan for the time to actually execute that. 4 is don't be shy. You've done all the work. You've done the process. You've put together your white papers and all the information and the content that you have. Use it. Get it out there. And when people are responding to it, comment on it. Because as we see in the 5th thing, if you don't integrate everything that you're doing and you're only communicating with some people some of the time, it's really detrimental to your overall brand program. So we talked about how it's being spent. How are some of the big guys using it? The global 100 companies. I thought this was interesting. 65% have a Twitter account, 54% have a Facebook fan page, 50% have a YouTube page, and 33% use a corporate blog. I really like that blog stat because I think that blogs are definitely an underrated tool, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. The other thing I wanted to mention is I've had about 100 cups of coffee, so I'm talking really fast because I'm trying to fit all this into an hour and leave Jan some time. But if you have any questions that are just like you don't want to forget them, we're really casual, just blurt it out, okay? Don't wait till the end. So love at first sight, building a social media relationship. It's kind of like dating. We get a lot of questions like, when should I use Twitter? Why should I use Twitter? When should I use Facebook? And I know that a lot of us are sitting here going, well, of course you use Twitter for this, and you would use Facebook for that. But don't forget, when you're sitting there in a B2B environment, it's not something that they're accustomed to integrating into how they do things. Amber mentioned the importance of B2B with social media is a lot more engaged fans. You might have a smaller base, but the return's really high. So understanding how you can get to all of them and the process in this is really important. So just to take a quick walk, Twitter and YouTube, it's kind of like being out there in the online dating sites. You're out there, like in Sleepless in Seattle. You got to get out there. You got to build interest. You got to get some interaction. You have to share your knowledge. You have to build credibility. You have to start that contact and that engagement. People that are starting to contact you and talk to you on a regular basis and making sure that you're engaged with them in these relationships that you're forming on Twitter. From there, it moves to blogging. Now I'm interested in what you're saying in 140 characters. Now I want to see what you have to say if you have a couple more paragraphs to say it. They actually have an interest in reading you beyond what's going on in the regular day. You become a resource to them. You're a credible voice. You are putting together a thought leadership program. They see the value in what you're preparing. Facebook, now you have them. Now they actually care enough. Now you're going on a date. This is kind of like the official date. They care about you. They're connecting with you. They become an advocate of yours. They want to connect with you. You kind of do weird little dating things where you actually sit on the same side of the booth. Facebook has Farmville, that kind of thing. You join the community. They actually have a genuine interest in what you're saying and what your company is saying. And then finally, LinkedIn. LinkedIn's crazy. Jeff was talking about that. A lot of our clients have been using LinkedIn already. That was, in B2B especially, it's the complete opposite of consumer. They actually started in LinkedIn. They've been using it the right way, and LinkedIn's just kind of been building around them with the communities and the groups and how they've been evolving the page or evolving the channel. With LinkedIn, these guys are connecting. They're establishing more partnerships. They're doing joint pitches, especially in the B2B sector, where they can bring in other engineering specialties. They're doing recruiting. They're doing recruiting out of college. There's a lot of different applications for it, and it's kind of like your marriage. It's you're at home by 5 o'clock, in bed by 9, but it's a trusted partner. So we have 3 that we're going to focus on today, and I'm sorry if we didn't get the one that maybe you really wanted to learn about, but you can contact me after and we can talk about it. The 3 that we picked is really based on the 3 that we hear the most about or get the most questions about. Because like I said, when it comes to LinkedIn, there's not a lot of questions from our clients on that because they're like, I'm on it, I'm using it. I don't know if I should be on these other ones. And that's Twitter, Facebook, and blogging. So first, Twitter. I love Twitter. It's my favorite of the three. I was a little bit late to the Facebook game. I've always been blogging, but Twitter is where my passion's at. I think it's a great tool. I love the relationships that are built on it. Just a quick top line stat, awareness of Twitter has jumped from 5% in 2008 to 87% in 2010. 200 million registered users, 300,000 new users a day, 180 million unique visitors a day. 7% of Americans actively use Twitter. So the thought is that B2B is saying, hey, we're a little bit behind the curve. No, you're not. Actually, it's the time's right now for B2B companies to jump in and start to establish a voice. Mobile, 37% tweet from their mobile. That's going to go up immensely. And then 51% of users follow brands. So there is a need for it, and there is a common usage for it and how they're following and engaging with brands. Some top-line ideas on how B2B companies can use Twitter. It's definitely beneficial for brand awareness and brand building for all the reasons we mentioned in that relationship chart. Information exchange, it's a fast place to get info. You kind of need to navigate your way through that, though, because there can be some trickiness to how the information is coming out. Media relations, Paul talked about that earlier, and I would actually take a second and talk about that. He said about building relationships and making sure that we're not just bombarding people on Twitter with, like the reporters with our pitches. If you're a student of PR, or if you've been in marketing, it's the same rules apply as pitching anybody on a phone, letter, email. The same theory applies. Don't bombard them. Don't just say, hey, I got a release for you, or hey, did you see my release? You need to build the relationship first. This is a great way to do it. Build subject matter experts. A lot of people don't really pay attention to this, but the thing is on Twitter, you can have multiple handles for tweeting for a company. Look at Radiant 6. Look at how they built their brand and the individuals' brands behind it. It's great. Think about if a B2B company did that. And there are some examples for that I'm going to show you in a minute. Drive web traffic. We'll talk about this in the metrics side, but you can definitely use it as it links to your blog, or if you want to link to microsites as a specific area of what you're going to be tweeting about. You can listen and monitor relevant market conversation. IBM has a great example of this we're going to get into. And then exclusive offers and promotions. Sounds weird from a B2B side of things, but don't think about it in terms of like buy now, get one later type of deal. It's more about a consultative sell, a helpful approach versus just pumping out a sales message. Using Twitter, some companies that do a really good job of it. Cisco's like the most, I think they're the most touted in terms of an actual B2B making a product company. There's a lot of consultants that are out there in terms of how they focus on using Twitter that you could classify as a B2B group. But Cisco, pretty much the best in how they really engage with their users. They have a lot of interaction with the people that they follow, a lot of back and forth. I just did a quick screen capture there. They do customer feedback and real-time data, that third point there. They did a poll. How many mobile data devices do you use during your typical workday? The poll linked to Facebook. So again, integration. It's something there that was actually driving real-time research that they could then later turn around and position as their own content back to the people that they were engaging with. And then this next one here, corporate news and week ahead type of information. This is a great way to use Twitter to add a personality to your brand. They basically turned their CEO chats into a webinar that they streamed through YouTube, and then they answered questions that were lobbed at them exclusively through Twitter. So it was a great way to interact and build some type of value or add value to people that were following their brand on Twitter, because they had a lot more personal connection with a C-level person, the CEO in this case, than they would naturally, because there's that whole kind of like, well, I'll never get to the CEO, especially in B2B. Another example, IBM. What can you say about I mean, they do a great job with Twitter on a lot of different aspects, but one of the places they do which is really very admirable, is how they promote their partners. So if you're a licensed partner, where if you're selling IBM software or services, they have a site, a Twitter handle dedicated, and a person in the company dedicated exclusively to how they present and pitch their own partners. So if their partners are talking at a seminar, if they have a blog, if they have a special program they're running, they push it out on their Twitter handle. It allows them to build credibility, because now you're seeing how they can add value to the partners that they have. And then the other thing that they're doing is this program that they started called Listening for Leads. So they drive leads to their partners with monitoring all the conversations. This Ed Lind was interviewed by eMarketer, and Ed Lind is the senior marketing manager over at IBM. And this interview, I'll just read it to you because it's such a powerful program. when they said, what success have you had with social media? Listening for leads has been the best initiative so far. We've uncovered millions of dollars worth just by listening. So they have salespeople that are just watching and listening for any time somebody pops up and says, I'm working on an RFP for this. Help, this is due within a week. Can anybody tell me how I should be positioning this side of it? So the people then log on and they contact them directly and say, maybe we should take this conversation offline, because they don't want to be sold to, they want to be helped. They want consultants. They want to have a consultative relationship, not just have stuff pushed at them. This is a great way to bring the brand to life that IBM's really been focusing on. And he has a line here at the end, smart marketers use the expert to establish credibility and get the conversation going. I mean, that's basic. Get the conversation going. You can't accomplish something or change behavior if you don't listen first. And yes, I know it's a tired phrase, but it's really important and it's often ignored. Paul mentioned HubSpot. He's 100% right. Great resource. They do all the work for you. They tell you what you need to know. They do all these great studies. We just sat in at IKEA. We sat in on the Science of Timing webinar a couple weeks ago, and this is literally information that's such key takeaway in our opinion in how we're helping people on how they tweet. But some fast stats here that I think were really interesting. Most retweetable time is late in the day between 2 and 5. The click-through rates stay stable throughout the day and night because people have different work patterns. I work 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I get emails from clients who are like, oh, you're a night owl too. And your clients are working. That's their downtime. They're getting caught up on things. So don't think that links that are going out late at night are being ignored. Don't be afraid to tweet links on the weekend, but because the click-through rate's actually a little bit higher, people have more time. Why is that? Well, not every company allows social media channels in the office. Facebook's blocked, Twitter's blocked. That's changing a little bit, but you'd be surprised. It still is an issue. Posting 1 link an hour if you're trying to get out information, either build credibility or for your own company. 1 link an hour gives you about the highest click-through rate if you're looking for that kind of a formula there. You can monitor that. You can add a plus to the end to be taken to the page to see the number of opens that click-through gets. If you're promoting content, this is really interesting here, because if you're promoting content on your own website, don't just cram the stream. I don't want to see 20 things from our client where we say, we're going to tweet once a day, and we're going to do it from 12 to 12:30, and all of a sudden there's 10 links. Now, you'd be lucky to get 1 clicked on. People don't want to see that. They're kind of skipping over that. And plus, if people on their tweet deck, if anybody has it up, and I'm sure people do, you can see how fast that information's moving. You're going to miss it. However, if you're tweeting for more general information, or if you're trying to build your credibility, it is okay to put out more URLs that are driving traffic back or driving traffic to other sites to show. Think about it as your morning newspaper. You pick up USA Today, you like it because of the way it's presented to you and the content that's in it. I might follow certain people because I like the tweet, I like the links that they're retweeting, or I take their own content and send that out to my followers because I know that we have a shared interest and they're going to find it beneficial too.